We are living in a volatile political environment. You could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorable.
Come on, man.
If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Come on, man. And if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It was a debate.
So, Trump was heavily criticized on Monday because he hosted a dinner party, which included guests like the anti-Semitic Kanye West and Kanye West plus one, the white supremacist Nick Fuentes. Now, those are the news outlets' words, not mine. I wouldn't be as presumptuous. Can you call them controversial? Yeah. But to call someone anti-Semitic who spelled DEFCON 3 as DEFCON 3 is giving him a little too much credit. Ye is as close to being an anti-Semite as Ben Shapiro is to being cool. Also, the left excessively uses the word white supremacist to the extent that I don't even think they exist anymore. No, white supremacist has become a blanket phrase for people they disagree with. And personally, I find it hard to see someone with the last name of Fuentes as a white supremacist because I'm sure Nick grew up eating beans and tortillas, and occasionally menudo on Sunday. But back to the dinner party. The reason it is so controversial and so many people are upset is because of Nick Fuentes. Trump said in the truth that he did not know Nick and he did not know he was coming. Now, media and other pundits are saying that is a cop-out. They're saying that Trump knew exactly who Nick Fuentes is. And, of course, he knew he was coming to the dinner, which is all assumptions, and them trying to capture the narrative. Because we now know that Trump is telling the truth about Nick Fuentes because before Ye exited Tim Pool's show, he explained that he did not tell Trump Fuentes was coming and that he just brought him along. The media and pundits like Crystal and Sauger from Breaking Points want so much to damage Trump that they are willing to falsely report on something that has not fully developed. But back to Nick real quick. I don't agree with his opinions at all. He is truly anti-Semitic, but he has the right to those opinions. And he has the right to express those opinions, even if you don't like them or you think they are dangerous opinions, okay? Nick Fuentes is a griefer. He has made his career on controversy in the worst ways, which is why I don't think he is a white supremacist. One, because of his last name, and two, because I think he just thinks it's funny to say things like, no one should condemn white supremacy and Trump is a cuck for doing so. He said that. It's fucking insane to me. No, I don't think Trump should associate with Nick Fuentes. And it's not because of his controversy, but because he is bad news. Pun intended. He enjoys igniting controversy. He enjoys it so much that he would be willing to sink the ship for a good laugh and notoriety. And if Ye was smart, he would drop the dude immediately from his campaign team. But welcome everyone to another episode of the Deplorable Talk Show. You are here with Mr. Deplorable himself, Israel Perez. Now, this is a show where I give you my unfiltered opinion on politics and culture. Now, I know nothing about the things I choose to talk about. It's just my opinion, and everyone has one. I just choose to spread mine on the internet. So, we will start off today's show talking about Ye again. No, he somehow finds a way to double down on his unpopular opinion, which will be in our first segment of the day called The Jones Report. We will then jump into today's big lead, which will be about the Twitter files. Elon Musk is making use of his new company, and the new information he released will hopefully shed light on the company's wrongdoings before he took it over. So I will have to tell you this. This week has been gold. Controversy after controversy has been unfolding in the news. It started with the Chinese protest, then we got hit with the Trump dinner, which fizzled out quickly because Kanye kicked the doors open with Tim Pool's interview. No, you have the House and the Senate overstepping the railroad workers. I can never say that goddamn word right. No, and siding with the rail bosses. The Balenciaga photo shoot and the FTX psyop that has been unfolding for the last 3 weeks. No, it's just too much news for one episode. So I was going to start off the episode by doing trending because I wanted to talk about the protests currently happening in China over the zero COVID policy. But on Thursday, Alex Jones decided to kick us in the balls with a highly controversial interview with Ye. And dude, this was a wild interview. No, this is too big of a story for me not to talk about right away. So this brings us to our first segment of the day called The Jones Report.
Oh, what's all this? This is ivermectin for humans that won a Nobel Prize as an antiviral. Nobel Prize winning for humans. Nobel Prize winning for humans. Nobel Prize winning for humans.
The Jones Report.
Yeehaw! Yeehaw! I turned into a Democrat. I took the ivermectin. Oh no, Fauci's right. I'm kind of retarded.
So, just so YouTube doesn't try to take this episode down, I'm going to say, disclaimer. Ye's attempt at normalizing Hitler is going to offend people. I in no way agree with what Kanye West is saying, but I understand what he is trying to say. I don't think it's his real opinion because when he is making his points, there is no substance behind it. It's cloudy thoughts, probably put there by the griefer himself, Nick Fuentes. So, if you find me laughing at what he is saying, it is because I find it hilarious that he is saying these things. It's not because I agree with it. It is because I find his opinion highly offensive. And the best way to diminish it is with laughter, okay? So let's continue on. So, Dan Carlin from Hardcore History has said in several episodes, and I also believe he touches on it in the Wrath of the Khans episodes, that one day Hitler will not be seen for his atrocities, but be seen for his accomplishments, because that's what happened to Genghis Khan. And if we go back far enough, Genghis Khan was seen by people of the East as a horrific person, a person of genocide, a person of pure evil. They saw Genghis Khan the same way we perceive Hitler today. But once you put decades between the horrific events, they start to fade away and the accomplishments start to shine. Hitler has many accomplishments and it's okay to acknowledge them, but it needs to be followed with, but this was the outcome, which was the Holocaust, okay? And I'm not sure if we've reached that point where Hitler's atrocities fade behind his achievements, but Ye is not the first person to do this. He is just the first Black American superstar to say this out loud and not be discreet about it. No, the media has been normalizing Hitler for several years now. You have movies like Look Who's Back and Jojo Rabbit, which I love Jojo Rabbit. It's a great movie, but in it, Hitler is portrayed as a happy-go-lucky mentor for Jojo. It's kind of gross. And Ye is entitled to his opinions, and what happened on Alex Jones' show is important for us to see, so we can combat those bad opinions with the truth. So, on Thursday, Alex Jones had on Ye to talk about the current controversy that is happening within the realm of Ye. And it started innocent enough.
Well, where would you like to start? This first little 5-minute segment is just kind of a prelude to what's coming up. What do you want to cover here today?
Just God runs the world and Jesus is the way and the life. And it's time to put Jesus first in the way that we run our businesses, the way we run our families, our businesses, and the way we run our country.
Okay.
For radio listeners, we're on over 400 radio stations. They can't see you right now. This is a new look for you.
Oh no, I've been wearing a mask for a while.
Ah.
Yeah.
So this is an archetypal example that the mask is off by putting the mask on.
People could take it how they want to take it.
You're giving them way too much out.
It's just, it's interesting if you look at a Michael Jordan or something. You would load up all these pictures and he's smiling and he's holding a basketball, he's jumping from the free throw line. And then you look at Phil Knight and you barely can see a picture of him and he's got his face covered. So I don't have to show my face, it's me. That's my right.
Well, I'm glad he's exercising his right. So, what's funny here is what he is wearing. It's a Balenciaga mask. And for those who don't know, Balenciaga is currently going through a scandal because of pictures of kids holding bears with bondage outfits on and well-placed documents of pedophile court cases within these same photo shoots. So the reason I bring that up is because while wearing that mask and after defending his reasons for wearing that mask, he brings this up.
You know, like one of the big topics right now is all of the pedophilia advertisement. And my take on that is, you know, there's one place in the Bible where it says God sees sin differently. And there's another place where it says, you know, let me get out my phone. I can like really pull up the exact thing it says in the Bible. The general gist, and we'll get back to it after the 5-minute break, is that you have to stay strict to everything and remove as much sin as possible in order to serve God. And when people look at pornography, when a grown man is looking at a grown woman have sex on camera, you're still looking at someone's daughter, and you're looking at a lot of times someone that is the product of pedophilia.
Okay.
So people will engage in going to strip clubs or looking at pornography, but then the moral compass is like, oh my God, look at the pedophiles. But in a way, anybody who looks at pornography is a form of a pedophile also. Let's bank it all in. It's very simple. We're not going to be talking about all this moral code and these standards right here. It's either Christ said so or Christ said no.
It's either Christ said so or Christ said no. So let me understand his logic here real quick. So if watching porn is a form of pedophilia because the entertainers in the porn may have been sexually abused as children, and that's pedophilia, you know, because you're taking part of it. What does that make you when you are wearing a mask designed by Balenciaga, which is currently going under investigation for pushing pedophile advertisements? No, that's my question. It's just a little hypocritical when you're kind of looking at it there, huh? You know, and his thought process is not entirely wrong, you know? And so according to the NIH, so between 66 to 90% of women in the sex industry were sexually abused as children. So I guess there is some truth to what he is preaching, but he knows what exactly what's going on with Balenciaga right now, and he still chooses to wear the mask designed by him. You know, that's just, it's hypocritical to me, which I just kind of feel like he just threw everything together that day. He was like, this is what's happening. You know, without any thought process of what's going on and what he's trying to preach and his, you know, him being hypocritical to what he's saying. You know, just he's all over the fucking place. But now, this would not be an interview with Ye if he didn't bring up how Zionists are bad, you know, because that's what we have come to expect from him. But he decides to take it a step further. Now, he doubled down on an already controversial opinion by saying that he likes Hitler.
Well, I said with Ali Alexander and Nick Fuentes that we're like the SWAT team of free thought, and I go in with this battle ram at the door, and then they come in with these laser beams and have that information. And we work together as a team. A lot of times in media, they want to single out one person and burn them to the core. That is a Zionist approach. And they're asking me to use that same approach. Well, hey, don't say all people, just say specifically the businessmen. And then I go on Lex Fridman and I say who it specifically, and that's still not enough. They're still taking it too far. Everyone knows and agrees now that it's like a reverse version of American History X, the scene when they put the guy's head against the curve and kick the back of it. And now people are like, wait a second, the so-called crime doesn't deserve the punishment. What did I thought?
Well, that's right. You're not Hitler. You're not a Nazi. You don't deserve to be called that and demonized.
Well, I see good things about Hitler also. The Jew, I love everyone, and Jewish people are not going to tell me you can love, us. And you can love what we're doing to you with the contracts. And you can love what we're pushing with the pornography. But this guy that invented highways, invented the very microphone that I use as a musician, you can't say out loud that this person ever did anything good. And I'm done with that. I'm done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler. Yes. How about that one?
Jesus. Look, you are allowed to have your opinion, okay? But if you're going to bring to the table an opinion that is highly controversial, you better have receipts, and you need to make sure that what you were saying is correct, otherwise you're just going to look like an idiot, okay? And that's exactly what happened here. Because Hitler, he didn't invent the highway nor the microphone. I guess people try and say he invented highways because of the Autobahn, but I think the Autobahn was already built. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And I mean, he could have said that, Hitler brought the German people out of the Great Depression. No, he could have said that, maybe that Hitler brought the German nation back to a world power. No, he could have said that. That might have worked. And you'd probably have some people pushing back on it, but I mean, it wouldn't sound like he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, because that's kind of what happened. It baffles me here, man. Oh no. So let's get into this next clip. And then we'll demonstrate what I was saying earlier, that these opinions are not truly his. And if they are his, they were formed right before he came to this show, because after saying that Hitler thing, he starts blaming the Zionists again. And when he reaches his mental limit of his argument, he has Nick Fuentes elaborate what he is trying to say.
My favorite thing that I got to say with Tim Pool was Rahm Emanuel was right there next to Obama. Jared Kushner was right there next to Trump. What are those two people, those two Zionists, I gave it away, have in common? Nick, can you pick that up and expound on that?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's interesting because you've been going on these interviews with Lex Fridman and with Tim Pool and Piers Morgan, and they always say, well, don't talk about a group, talk about the individuals. And I would point out, one, it's hypocritical because in the same interview, Tim Pool said, well, wouldn't Ye be so great for the black vote? So you can say the black vote, but you talk about Jewish businessmen, and somehow that's a problem. You can't talk about groups when it's one but not the other. The other thing is that there is something baked into the cake in Judaism which affects how they're brokering these kinds of contracts with entertainers like Ye. If you look at the Talmud, which is a real Jewish holy book, or part of the holy book, there's the written Torah, which is the Hebrew Bible. There's the oral Torah, which was written down as the Mishnah and then interpreted in the Talmud. In the Talmud, it says that Jews have to treat Gentiles differently than they treat other Jews. There's all kinds of examples of this. They say that if a Jew indirectly kills a Gentile, there's nothing even wrong with that. There's nothing morally wrong with that. They say that for a Jew to have sex with a Gentile is comparable to bestiality. They say that the semen of a Gentile is like that of horses. They also say that you can't give a gift to a Gentile. A Jew is not permitted under the Talmud to give a gift to a Gentile. They're not permitted to charge each other interest, but they're encouraged to charge Gentiles interest.
What do they say about pedophilia?
they say that that's in some cases licit.
Yeah, just to kind of toss the fucking whipped cream on top, huh? Oh man, you know what? I'm not gonna say that those aren't in that book, you know, because I'm sure, you know, Nick Fuentes has done some research, you know, because he's not a dumb dude. He's very well spoken, misguided probably, but he's not dumb. You know, it is easy in the conspiracy world to see a cluster of things pointing in one direction and assume that is the answer, you know, but correlation does not imply causation, right? And so the book he is talking about, the Talmud, and this is me simplifying it, by the way. The Talmud functions as a Torah dictionary. You know, it is used to study the Torah. You know, according to my understandings, if you are reading the Torah and a passage says blank, blank, and you don't understand what blank, blank means, you refer to the Talmud for clarification. I'm sure I'm saying that name wrong. Talmud, I don't know. But Nick portrays the book as one of absolutes, but that's not the case for the book. It's a book of debate and philosophy. It's not meant to be absolute. It is meant to guide you, and it is up to you to interpret it in the way that makes sense to you. And when I was kind of talking to my friend about it, who's Jewish, he basically said that it's constantly being updated with new rabbis, and if they made something that makes sense to other rabbis, they'll add it in. No. To kind of compact down what I just said, Nick is wrong, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. And just to kind of give you an idea of how outlandish this interview was, he stops Jones mid-conversation to do this bit.
Alex.
Yes, sir.
I've got the perfect answer for the ADL. They are going to have to listen up. What we did is we brought Netanyahu with us.
I mean, I'm in the twilight zone right now.
Jesus.
Netanyahu, what do you have to say? What do you have to say to Alex Jones right now, Nick Fuentes and Ye? It was bad. It was bad for Trump to meet with Nick and Ye. Okay. I had no idea your voice is going to sound like that, Netanyahu.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So you don't like Benjamin Netanyahu?
I just heard about this guy 2 weeks ago since like the tweet, and I thought he had a funny name.
Oh, classic. That's all I got to say. Fuck. Oh man. You know, I'm not trying to bash Ye here. No, I like the guy. I think he has a good heart. Now, and he does make good points in this interview, but he constantly drifts in and out of how bad the Jews are that I can't show you what he is saying without getting kicked off of YouTube. Or two, it's just going to be so heavily edited that it doesn't sound like he's talking. Because that's what he does. He makes it like starts making a point, and then he drifts off, and then it just comes right back to how bad the Jews are. I'm just like, buddy, just finish out your thought, please. Just please do it. Because I'm just like, okay, I see where you're going here, yeah. And he's like, and the Jews are bad. I'm just like, quit. Just like, quit. But I have to say hats off to Kanye, because he's the only person I know that can make Alex Jones look like a centrist and the voice of reason at the same time. Now, you could tell Jones was feeling a little awkward, you know, during that interview, and he even tries to run damage control, and Ye just crumbles it instantly.
All right. My mission here today is to offer the First Amendment, because as long as you're not carrying out violence against someone or asking people to be violent, like the left's asked people to burn down cities and attack Republicans and celebrate Rand Paul and Scalise being shot and attacked, then you have your free speech. And when the left came out in the last 10 years and really accelerated the last 5, 6, it said white people are inherently evil because of the color of their skin, and that somebody that who moved here as a kid from Poland, they're supposed to pay reparations for what people did hundreds of years ago in this country. It's a divide and conquer strategy. I'm not getting into the reparations debate. I'm saying the groups pushing reparations are trying to cause division. And so I've said it, the most Nazi-like activities I've seen, and the Nazis, in my view, were thugs that shook people down, did a lot of really bad things.
But they did good things too. We're going to stop dissing the Nazis all the time.
Okay.
Look at him. Fucking Jones's face is like, he's like, oh. It's just like, I just want to grab you and go, stop. just stop. Oh, man. No, I got to say bravo, yay. No, you're the only man that can make Alex Jones blush. You would think that how ostracized Ye is, he would be trying to keep as many high-profile friends as possible, but no, just burn it all down.
Dave Chappelle is a hack, and he gets a lot of his jokes from Owen Benjamin. Dave Chappelle went on a Jewish platform and said, they dropped that nigga. Dave Chappelle said they dropped that nigga talking about Ye, and he called me Kanye, and I'm supposed to be his friend. Dave Chappelle does not believe in God and does not believe in Jesus. These are the kind of black leaders that the Zionists put in front of us. And meanwhile, we want to knock Herschel Walker, but Herschel Walker changed his life for Christ. And he might have had abortions, but he doesn't believe in abortion.
Well, sure, what matters is I have too. What matters is the heart.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like, I don't know what to say anymore. That's just like that's that face that Joe just made. He's just like, oh, fuck. Probably because he brought in Herschel Walker, and we're about to go into the fucking runoffs, and he's probably like, shut the fuck up. Don't bring Herschel into this. We need him to win in Georgia. Oh, it's wild, man. It's wild. And at about that point where I just showed you, that's about 35 minutes in, and mind you, it's a 3-hour long interview. And I'm about to stop listening because I think I've kind of heard what I needed to hear. And then Ye hits us with pure gold.
That we get any kind of regime that's going to deliver the real change.
Nick, I got a question. If I say something that's provocative towards the Mossad, is that misogynistic? Hold on, let's hear from that.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, I'm the head of the Mossad. I'm gonna kill you and take your children away from you.
Thanks a lot, Netin. Back to you, Alex.
Please turn your microphone around, sir. I'm definitely overwhelmed here right now.
Yeah, look at him.
Infowars.com, tomorrow's news today.
You're making Alex Jones
all I'm trying to get through here is, I believe every group should be able to be
switched his name to Netin. I dropped the Yahoo, so we didn't have to. I was tired of picking up the Yahoo and the Netin, so for now, he's just Netin. I know some people call him BB. No, some you call him but we're gonna call him Netin. What you want, Netin?
Hey, right after this, I'm gonna say you're crazy. I'm gonna take your family away from you. We're not done with you yet. You cannot cause free thought. We have to control the history books. We have to control the banks, and we have to go and kill people. Also, we're in the pedophilia.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Thanks, Dad. I don't know what to say to that. Oh, and like I said earlier, this interview's 3 hours long, guys. And we're now at about the 40-minute marker with that clip that I just showed. No, it's a wild interview. It's 3 hours long. I sat through it that long. I'm just like, oh no. And it was basically that. It was him rehashing everything. He'd rehash everything from the first hour. Once they got to the second hour, and once they got to the third hour, it was rehashing. They never drifted away from the Zionists are bad. The Jews run fucking Hollywood, and I like Hitler. That's what it. It's just Like, Jesus, shut the fuck up, Kanye. So, to end this out, here is one more clip to prove that Ye doesn't know or understand what he is saying. He's regurgitating someone else's opinion that he thinks sounds edgy and smart. There's no substance in his argument, and you can tell just by hearing Ye try to articulate his view compared to Jones articulating his view.
Listen, all I'm trying to say is
Milo's Jewish. I love Milo. Yeah.
Thanks,
and you got a little bit of the Hitler fetish going on.
It's not a fetish. It's not a fetish. That's a term. Like, I just love information. They have some documentaries. Apparently, Bezos is allowed to put up any documentary, but if a basketball player tweets it, he'll lose his entire career. I think that's...
Well, that's where I want to go, because you've got millions, hundreds of millions of Chinese locked down right now by, and Chinese are great people, but their government in that country is the most racist, homogenistic, or homogeneous, actually, group there is. And all I'm saying is I really care about those Chinese people under lockdown because they want to use that as a model against us. I'm just kind of not, I'm not on the whole Jew thing. It's what I'm saying. I don't care if people talk about it. I believe in free speech. I'm just really worried about the forced injections, world government, 5G, the open borders, the collapsing currencies, war with Russia. What do you think?
I don't have all of that information. I have the information that 2 days ago I thought I was going to be put in prison because my accounts are frozen.
No, I get it. You're in Hollywood, and the managers you see.
It's hard to listen
so
to,
I get it from your perspective. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and I love Jesus, and I have to fight this war to make a better place for my children and for everyone else's children. I got to put myself, my accounts, my name at risk to stand in the front of this war that we have. This is InfoWars, right? So we're going to give this information on InfoWars.
Okay. Okay. All over the place. Now, like I said, there's nothing behind what he is trying to push. If those ideas were thought out in his head, he would be able to articulate it into a conversation that we can understand. Instead, it is a jumbled mess that goes from Hitler is good to Christianity to I love everyone, the Jews are bad, then back to Christianity. It's not making any sense. You know, you're going to have a hard time trying to get people to agree with you when you are generalizing a group of people that have a history of being generalized. I'm just putting that out there. Now, I'm sure he's been wronged by, some Jewish people. Look, and I understand. I have a friend that is Jewish, and sometimes I think he's a dirty shekel hoarder, but that's what I think of him as an individual, all right? That's not my assumption of the Jewish community as a whole. So, stop hanging out with political pundits and get back to making music, Kanye. You get 500 more chances with me, buddy, then I'm done. And this was the Jones Report.
Oh, what's all this? This is ivermectin for humans that won a Nobel Prize as an antiviral. Nobel Prize winning for humans. Nobel Prize winning for humans. Nobel Prize winning for humans.
The Jones Report.
Yeehaw! Yeehaw! I turned into a Democrat. I took the ivermectin. Oh no, Fauci's right. I'm kind of retarded.
That was a hard one to make it through, guys. So, the plan for the big lead this week was to talk about the FTX scandal, which I'm still going to do. This news, this week's news cycle has been insane. And as I'm getting ready to start writing the FTX thing, Elon Musk drops a bomb on us. He released evidence on Twitter of the deliberate suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story written by the New York Post. And the evidence shows that the DNC and other high-level Democrats had taken part in the suppression of the story for political gain, which is highly illegal. So let's get into the big lead.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media simply aren't true without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
So, on November 28th, Elon Musk posted this tweet. The Twitter files on free speech suppression soon to be published on Twitter itself. The public deserves to know what really happened. And that tweet had a lot of people excited, especially me. That's for sure. I was wondering what he would be releasing. Would he be releasing a report on how Twitter shadow banned people due to their political beliefs? Could it be emails between governmental agencies like the FBI, asking Twitter to suspend or keep an eye on certain accounts? Well, what Elon is calling the Twitter files dive into what happened during the suppression of the New York Post over the Hunter Biden laptop story. And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised, because it touched on all of the above. Now, it wasn't released in a traditional way, and you have Tim Pool and some other people kind of saying they didn't like the way it was released. I liked the way it was released, and it was released via thread. And I'm sure it was done that way because they kind of wanted to, build tension as this was dropping, and they did a good job on that, because every 5 seconds, I'd be refreshing my goddamn page because I didn't want to miss the next post. I wanted to be there. I wanted to be commenting, right when it dropped, reading it, kind of giving my 2 cents in, maybe, retweeting it, maybe quote tweeting it, and I was doing that. I was highly engaged the whole time, and what was great about it is he made the leak of a highly controversial political psyop an event, and it was done masterfully. Gotta give him that. He knows how to make an event. But on December 2nd, Elon tweets this. What really happened with the Hunter Biden story suppression by Twitter will be published on Twitter at 5 p.m. Eastern. So we didn't know, or at least I didn't read what day it would be out. He just said he was going to be releasing it next week. And I was actually, like I said, I was writing that FTX story. And then I see that pop up, and I'm almost like, holy shit, is that happening today? So I was patiently waiting. I think I saw that at like noon at 5 p.m. Eastern. So that's 3 o'clock here. And of course, it didn't drop on time, and I'm sure it was planned that way. But at 6:44 p.m. Eastern, we see this tweet. Here we go. Popcorn emoji, popcorn emoji. And this is a retweet from Matt Taibbi. So we're going to go through this just, tweet by tweet. I'm just going to add in my thoughts here and there, because it's pretty self-explanatory. Let's look at this, guys, because I thought this was significant. Maybe you guys might not think so, but I think it is. So let's read this. Thread, the Twitter files. What you are about to read is the first installment in a series based upon thousands of internal documents obtained by sources at Twitter. The Twitter files tell an incredible story from inside one of the world's largest and most influential social media platforms. It is a Frankensteinian tale of human-built mechanism grown out of control of its designer. Twitter, in its conception, was a brilliant tool for enabling instant mass communications, making a true real-time global conversation possible for the first time. In early conception, Twitter more than lived up to its mission statement, giving people the power to create and share ideas and information instantly without barriers. As time progressed, however, the company was slowly forced to add those barriers. Some of the first tools for controlling speech were designed to combat the likes of spam and financial fraudsters. Slowly, over time, Twitter staff and executives began to find more and more use for these tools. Outsiders began petitioning the company to manipulate speech as well, first a little, then more often, then constantly. By 2020, requests from connected actors to delete tweets were routine. One executive would write to another, more to review from the Biden team. The reply would come back, handled. So, let's bring this up here. So what we're seeing is an email sent on October 24th, 2020 at 5:39 p.m. And basically this person saying, hey, we received emails from the Biden team because Biden wasn't president at the time, or was running for president. So it's the Biden team asking to review these accounts. And these are obviously the handles with the post numbered over here. And I'm going to take it that handled means that they deleted these tweets. And it's probably because they were posting stuff from the Hunter Biden's laptop. And when I was watching Crowder earlier today, he was saying when they were looking into these accounts, because he got better tools than I have. I'm just some guy who yells at my screen here. He was saying that a lot of these are just Chinese accounts, anti-CCP accounts. Chinese, that's what these are. Like none of these had anything to do with posting things from the Hunter Biden laptop. So that gives you any context of what they were doing. Anyways, so let's continue on. Celebrities and unknowns alike could be removed or reviewed at the behest of the political party. And let's look at this one because this one's really fucking interesting. So, on October 24, 2020, 6:54 p.m., an additional report from the DNC. And so this is for Steph Lahoon and the real James Wood. And then they said, I grabbed the first one under SI. I don't know what that means, but deferred to safety on the high-profile second one. So the high-profile second one is James Woods, right? So they suspended James Woods' account because he posted something from the Hunter Biden laptop story, and they were saying that it was a safety concern. I don't understand what he was posting that was a safety concern. And I think he's actually came out and said that what he posted was just I'm trying to remember what it was. I think what he posted was just an article that was talking about what was found on that laptop. And I think he's currently putting stuff together to sue the DNC because he didn't post anything wrong. Nothing that was safe, worth looking over safety issues wise. He was just posting something from the Hunter Biden laptop story that he thought was, people should see, which should be fine. He wasn't breaking any rules. They took it in their hands to say, well, we're going to make up a reason that for why you broke our rules and just suspend your account, which is wrong. It's suppression of information. Anyways, let's continue on. Both parties had access to these tools. For instance, in 2020's requests from both the Trump White House and the Biden campaign were received and honored. However, the system wasn't balanced. It was based on contacts because Twitter was and is overwhelmingly staffed by people from one political orientation. There were more channels, more ways to complain, open to the left than the right. So, what Matt's basically saying there is both parties had been corresponding with Twitter to review accounts. But because the Democrats Party, contributed more to Twitter, the accounts reviewed for the Democrat Party were prioritized and handled, proving the claims of bias against right-wing accounts. So, and let's take a look at this just because this is this kind of eye-opening and it kind of shows you like how how much bias there is because of the donations that the Democratic Party was giving to Twitter. So, and this is from that same post. It's just the picture that was part of it. So in 2018, the total amount donated to Twitter was a little over 300,000. All right. The Democrats contributed 96% of that total, which is just under $300,000. The Republicans contributed 3% of a whopping $11,000. And, you know, that makes sense of why more right-wing accounts were getting suppressed, because Twitter's getting more money from the Democratic Party. And that was for the 2018 midterms. And then for the presidential election in 2020. Hey, YouTube, I'm not saying that this, affected the outcome of the election. I'm just saying it's a little fucking weird, okay? Not saying that. The freest and fair election ever was the 2020 election. Freest and fairest. So in 2020, Democrats contributed 98% of the total amounts, which was just underneath $1 million. Jesus, dude. So they were sitting at $909,000 contributed, 98%. Republicans only contribute 1%, 1.5%, a whopping 14,000. Oh no! And then in our midterms in 2020, I'm afraid to say elections. The Democratic Party contributed 99% of total donations to Twitter. 165,000 to Republicans, 20.27%, which is $451. Oh man. So explain to me again how Twitter did not have a left-wing bias, and how the Democrats didn't use Twitter to help them win. I'm not even going to say the last word. You know, because the receipts are right there in front of you. We just showed you it. You know, and that to me is proof that they're donating so much money to Twitter that Twitter would obviously prioritize them over the right. You know, money talks. And that's just basically it. So let's continue on here, huh? The resulting slant in content moderation's decision is visible in the documents you are about to read. However, it is also the assessments of multiple current and former high-level executives. Okay, there was more throat clearing about the process, but screw it, let's jump forward. Hold on real quick. The Twitter Files, Part 1. How and why Twitter blocked the Hunter Biden laptop story. And so, hold on. It's real quick, guys. So you see the difference between 12 and 16? I think he had more already planned out to do it, and that's why he says, you know, I think it's redundant to show you this, so we're just going to jump forward, and we jump forward to 16. Everybody's like, what happened to 13, 14, and 15? Why did you skip 13 and 14 and 15? Anyways, on October 14th, 2020, the New York Post published Biden's secret emails and exposed based on the contents of Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop. Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress the story, removing links posting warnings that it may be unsafe. They even blocked its transmission via direct message, a tool hitherto reserved for extreme cases. And the example he gives is child pornography. White House spokeswoman Kayleigh McEnany was locked out of her account for tweeting about the story, prompting a furious letter from Trump campaign staffer Mike Hahn, who seethed, quote, at least pretend to care for the next 20 days. And let's look at this email, huh? So from Mike Hahn, urgent subject is Kayleigh McEnany. and to Twitter's government and politics. Kayla McKinney at Kayla McKinney has been locked out from her account for simply talking about the New York Post story. All she did was cite the story and firsthand reporting that has been reported by other outlets and not disputed by the Biden campaign. I need an answer immediately on when and how she will be unlocked. I also don't appreciate how nobody on this team called me regarding the news that you'll be censoring news articles. Like I said, at least pretend to care for the next 20 days. This led public policy executives Caroline Strom to send out a polite "what the fuck" query. Several employees noted that there was tension between the comms policy teams, who had little less control over moderation, and the safety trust teams. And this is just her saying, hey, hi team, are you able to take a closer look here? Thank you. Okay, whatever. Strom's note returned the answer that the laptop story had been removed for violation of the company's hacked material policy. Thanks for reaching out to us. Per checking, the user was bounced by site integrity for violating our hacked materials policy, adding them for further insight and guidance. Thanks. Ops analyst, yeah, so this is for the global team. Although several sources recalled hearing about a general warning from federal law enforcement that summer about possible foreign hacks, there is no evidence that I've seen of any governmental involvement in the laptop story. So that last part right there, I don't blame Matt Taibbi for he doesn't know everything. There's a lot of articles and information out right now that shows that governmental agencies were working with social media sites before this all happened. And we'll watch a clip of basically Mark Zuckerberg, corroborating that. But I can't, it's just weird to me that they locked out the press secretary's account because they claimed she violated their hacked materials policy. The laptop was left at a computer repair shop. Nothing was hacked. They're just making up stuff to justify their overuse of power. Because in that article from the New York Post, it specifically says that this was left at a computer repair shop. And the person who gave the laptop out has came out and said, hey, no, it wasn't hacked. I was working on it. And if anybody wants to question me, I would be more than willing to come in and answer questions about what's going on here. So they knew it wasn't hacked, but they still went with that story because that's all they had. And it wasn't a lot to go off of, it's wrong. But anyways, let's continue on here. The decision was made at the highest levels of the company, but without the knowledge of CEO Jack Dorsey, with former head of legal policy Trust Via Jagade playing a key role. They just freelanced it, is how one former employee characterized the decision. Hacking was the excuse, but within a few hours, pretty much everyone realized that wasn't going to hold. But no one had the guts to reverse it. You can see the confusion in the following lengthy exchange, which ends up including Gadid and former Trust and Safety Chief Yoel Roth. Comms official Trenton Kennedy writes, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this as unsafe. So, privileged and confidential. The Hunter Biden laptop article. Our teams continue to investigate the origins of the material, including the reporting. Why do you need to investigate that? Trenton Kennedy, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this as unsafe, and I think the best explainability argument for this externally would be that we are waiting to understand if the story is the result of hacked materials. We'll face hard questions on this if we don't have some kind of solid reasoning for marking the link unsafe. Katie Rosenberg, will we also mark similar stories as unsafe because Fox News was also reporting on it as well, you know? So if they're going to keep everything fair, they need to, take down Fox News's article, but they can't do that because they have no course to take stuff down because they're making shit up. And like, this is the thing, is they're not going to get in trouble for what the New York Post wrote. So why not just err on the side of, you know what, we can't really say that it's not hacked, so we're just going to let it roll. And if we find out that it's hacked, then we take everything down from there. Like, that's the reasonable way to go. But no, they need to suppress it because it's bad for their political team. Anyways, let's continue on. It upsets me. By this point, everyone knew this was fucked, said one former employee, but the response was essentially to err on the side of continuing to err. Yoel Roth. The policy basis is hacked materials, though, as discussed, this is an emerging situation where the facts remain unclear. Given the severe risks here and lessons of 2016, we are erring on the side of including a warning and preventing this content from being amplified. Via Jagada said, what is the warning that will come up? Yoel Roth. When you click the link, you'll see the generic unsafe URL, references spam, malware, and violations of the Twitter rules. Not idle, but it's the only thing we have. Ian Plunkett. Whatever we do in the comms, this will become a bias claim for Jack pre-hearing immediately. Let's make it clear we're proactively but cautiously interpreting this through the lens of our hacked materials policy and allowing link with the warning and significant reduction of spread. So they're already saying that they go, we don't know if we can do this, but let's just keep on doing it because this is all we have. Former VP of Global Comms, Brandon Broman, asks, can we truthfully claim that this is part of the policy? Because everybody else is like, I don't know. I don't think we can do this. To Ian's point, can we truthfully claim this is as part of our the policy? As, for example, part of our approach to addressing potential hacked materials, we are limiting visibility of related stories on Twitter while our investigation is ongoing, right? You're still investigating it, but you're not allowing it to show. You should let it show because this is a First Amendment thing. You can't stop the spread of news. So you might as well just let the story go. And if it comes out that it is hacked, then you take it down. You don't get to make the rules like that. Anyways, they're a private company. Everybody says. To which former Deputy General Counsel Jim Baker again seems to advise staying the non-course because caution is warranted. Jim Baker, I support the conclusion that we need more facts to assess whether the materials were hacked. At this stage, however, it is reasonable for us to assume that they may have been and that caution is warranted. There are some facts that indicate that the materials may have been hacked, while there are others indicating that the computer was either abandoned and or the owner consented to allow the repair shop to access it for the last for at least some purpose. We simply need more information. it's all right there. A fundamental problem with tech companies and content moderations. Many people in charge of speech care little about speech and have to be told the basics by outsiders. So, from the gist of those emails that we've been reading, they basically are saying because we think this is hacked, we will suppress the story because this is too dangerous. We don't know if it's hacked, but fuck it. We will roll with the punches. Now, that's the thought process right there. If you were, there's already rules for this within our First Amendment. You are a private company, but you still have to roll by the rules of the First Amendment somewhat, especially when it comes to news agencies. Suppressing news is against the law. Period. They're making something. If they wouldn't have suppressed this, I guarantee you, if they wouldn't have suppressed this, this wouldn't have exploded into what it is. People probably would be a little mad. Maybe some changes in the votes for Biden wouldn't have happened, but early voting was already taking place. So I don't even know if this would really would have changed anything because of early voting. But anyways, let's continue on. So, in one humorous exchange on day one, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna reaches out to Gade to gently suggest she hoped hop on the phone to talk about the backlash re-speech. Khanna was the only Democrat official I could find in the files who expressed concern. Generating huge backlash on Hill re-speech. Happy to chat if you're up for it. Best row. Sent from my phone. Gade replies quickly, immediately diving into the weeds of Twitter policy, unaware Khanna is more worried about the Bill of Rights. Hi, Congressman Khanna. Thank you for reaching out, and we appreciate the heads up. We put out a clarifying thread of tweets earlier this evening to explain our policy around the posting of private information and linking directly to hacked materials. The press secretary's account was not permanently suspended. We requested that she delete the tweet containing material that is in violation of our rules, and her account is restricted until she complies. I'd be happy to jump on the phone if helpful. My team in DC, Jessica and Lauren, are copied here and also available to discuss. Thanks, Via. Okay. Khanna tries to reroute the conversation to the First Amendment, mention of which is generally hard to find in the files. So, Ro Khanna to Via Jagade. Ro Khanna. Hope you are well, Via. But this seems a violation of the First Amendment principles. If there is a hack of classified information or other information that could expose a serious war crime and the New York Times was to publish it, I think the New York Times should have the right. A journalist should not be held accountable for the illegal actions of the source unless they actively aided in the hack. So, to restrict the distribution of that material, especially regarding a presidential candidate, seems not in the keeping of the principles of the New York Times versus Sullivan. And there's there's also fucking law. There's also a court case that backs this. I say this as a total Biden partisan and convinced he didn't do anything wrong. But the story now has become more about censorship than relatively innocuous emails, and it's become a bigger deal than it would have been. I agree. It is also now leading to serious efforts to curtail Section 230, many of which would have been a mistake. I believe Twitter itself should curtail what it recommends or puts in trending news, and your policy against QAnon groups is all good. It's hard to balance. But in the heat of a presidential campaign, restricting dissemination of newspaper articles, even the New York Post is far right, seems like it will invite more backlash than it will do good. Please keep this communication between just us and Jack, and no need to CC the team or forward to them. Just wanted to offer my 2 cents. So, see, even they are worried about how this violates the First Amendment. And everybody who's like, well, they're a private company, they don't have to abide by the First Amendment. No. If that was the fucking case, they would not be emailing them saying, hey, you are barking up the wrong tree. And that little email there, I kind of got the feeling that she was saying, Twitter is in violation of the First Amendment. We understand you're doing that to groups like QAnon, but to do it to a news organization is a different thing. Please, going forward, be a little bit more discreet. Also, let's keep this conversation between us because I really don't care about the First Amendment, but we have to make it look like we do. That's what I kind of felt what she was saying in there, but I could be misinterpreting it. All right, let's continue on. We're almost done here. So, within a day, head of public policy Lauren Culbertson receives a ghastly letter report from Carl Sasbo of the research firm at NetChoice, which had already polled 12 members of Congress, 9 Republicans and 3 Democrats, from the House Judiciary Committee. And let's look at this. Lauren, yesterday, NetChoice Chris Marchis met informally with 9 Republicans and 3 Democrats, House staffers, to gather intel about Facebook and Twitter and the New York Post story. The staffers hail from the House Judiciary Committee to Rep. Judy Cho's office. NetChoice lets Twitter know a bloodbath awaits in an upcoming Hill hearing, with members saying it's tipping point, complaining tech has grown so big that they can't even regulate themselves, so government may need to intervene. High-level takeaway: every Republican said this is a tipping point. It's just too much, and both Democrats and Republicans were angry. I don't know how we gathered that from that, but anyways, let's go on. Sasbo reports to Twitter that some Hill figures are characterizing the laptop story as Tech Access Hollywood. When asked just how bad this situation is, one staffer said it's Tech Access Hollywood moment and it has no Hillary to hide behind. Others were more blunt. Tech is screwed, and rightfully so. And yeah, they are, dude. Especially with this coming out. Yeah, they are. So, Twitter files continued. The First Amendment is an absolute. Sabzo's letter contains chilling passages relying Democratic lawmakers' attitudes. They want more moderation, and as for the Bill of Rights, it's not absolute. Let's read this. So, the Democrats, meanwhile, complain that the companies are inept. They let conservatives muddy the water and make the Biden campaign look corrupt, even though Biden is innocent. They linked this to Hillary Clinton's email scandal. She did nothing wrong, but because the press wouldn't let the story go, it became a scandal, far out of proportion. In their mind, social media is doing the same thing. It doesn't moderate enough harmful content, so when it does, like it did yesterday, it becomes a story. If the companies moderate more, conservatives wouldn't even think to use social media for disinformation, misinformation, or otherwise. The Democrats were in agreement. Social media needs to moderate more because they're corrupting democracy and making all truth relative. When pushed on how the government might insist on that, consistent with the First Amendment, they demurred. The First Amendment isn't absolute. What? No, they basically stated because Twitter censors insufficiently. When stories like this that deserve censorship and are censored, they become bigger stories than they should be. If Twitter started to aggressively censor conservatives, we would be less likely to post false or misleading information. Fortunately for you, Twitter, the First Amendment is not absolute. So we need you to do better. The fuck does that mean, man? Wow. That's insane. That is, dude. All right, we're almost done here, so let's keep on reading. An amazing subplot of the Twitter Hunter Biden laptop affairs was how much was done without the knowledge of CEO Jack Dorsey and how long it took for the situation to get unfucked. As one ex-employee put it, even after Dorsey jumped in. And obviously he deleted that tweet. So, there are multiple instances in the files of Dorsey intervening to question suspensions and other moderation actions for accounts across the political spectrum. The problem with the hacked materials ruling, several sources said, was that this normally required an official law enforcement finding of a hack. Exactly. But such a finding never appears throughout what one executive describes as a whirlwind 24-hour company-wide message. We don't need to read that because it's just him saying, hey, this is going to be a whirlwind. Thank you for doing as much as you guys can. We're trying to rectify this. Thank you. That's basically what it says. It's been a whirlwind of 96 hours for me too. There is much more to come, including answers to questions about issues like shadow banning, boosting follower counts, the fate of various individual accounts, and more. These issues are not limited to the political rights. And he kind of says this will be continued. So the media is trying to make light of this because of what was released in the first edition, what we just read. For many years, Democrats and neocons have argued that social media is part of the free market. No, it's a private company with the right to censor speech and suspend whoever it wants. Your First Amendment rights are not applicable. But as we have seen, Twitter suppressed the New York Post, not because they broke their policy, but because they felt the story was too dangerous and could be Russian misinformation used to influence the outcome of our election. The DNC was asking Twitter to review and suspend accounts that were sharing leaked emails and photos from Hunter's laptop. They are no longer a private company when they start doing the bidding of a governmental agency. No. And not just one, several. It wasn't just the DNC. And I guess you can argue that the Biden team wasn't a governmental agency, okay. But the FBI came in and told Twitter that there would be a leak of Russian misinformation and that Twitter, Facebook, etc., should do their best to combat this attack. And this is before Hunter Biden, the laptop thing came out. And if you don't believe me, here's Mark Zuckerberg corroborating that.
There was a lot of attention on Twitter during the election because of the Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York Post.
We had that too.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
So we took a different path than Twitter. Basically the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant.
Yeah. Right there, man. The FBI came in. Sorry, my phone kind of acted up there. I don't know what happened, but yeah, but the FBI, exactly what they did. They came in and they told them, hey, it's the heads up. There's going to be Russian misinformation coming. Russia, right? And I'm sure they told Mark and the rest of the Twitter team more than just that. He's just saying what he needs to say. Right? I don't know, man. It's just all weird. But what I also find a little odd is it didn't take long for leftist pundits to come out in unison and tweet essentially the same thing, but phrased differently. It's almost as if they all work for the same company and were sent an email saying, hey, say this in your tweets. And let's look at this, dude. It's odd. So Mediaite put together all these tweets, basically. So you have Ben Collins saying, imagine throwing it all away to do PR work for the richest person in the world. Humiliating shit. And this is about Matt Taibbi. I'm sorry. But, and then Chris Hayes, watching some of the most famous, most powerful, and richest men red pill themselves into disaster. Pretty wild. Imagine volunteering to do online PR work for the world's richest man on Friday night in service of nakedly and cynically right-wing narratives, and then pretending you're speaking the truth to power. Watching Matt's unbelievable fall into lazy reactionary commentary on now PR hand for commentary, and now PR hand for the world's richest man is depressing. From calling Goldman Sachs a vampire squid to giving free PR to the world's richest billionaire. You see? So this thread should be taught in journalism school as evidence of the importance of editors. Editors are great, not just because they make you work sharper, but because you can ask them things like, hey, should I be doing PR work for the richest man on the planet? Matt Taibbi, what's sad? Disgraceful downfall. I swear, kids, he did good work back in the day. Should be the cautionary tale for everyone. Selling your soul for the richest white nationalist on earth. Well, he'll eat well for the rest of his life, I guess. But is it worth it? And it just keeps on going. I know he's telling you what you want to hear, but that doesn't change the fact that he's working PR for the... Yeah, you see? It's the same fucking phrasing. It's the same words. And there's 27 of them. We just kind of ran through. I don't need to run through all of them because you can kind of see what Mediaite was doing here. They all came out in unison. It was just one after another. I remember seeing them too. I was like, why is everybody saying this? You know? Like I said earlier, it's kind of like they all got an email saying, hey, we need to fucking run. We need to run we need to run a defamation campaign on this real quick. You know? Probably used the wrong word there. But yeah, no, it was odd. It was odd to see. You know, all of them coming out in unison here. But this will be a developing story as we head into the next year. You know, Musk provided the Republican-led House with ammunition for what the left is calling false claims about the Hunter Biden laptop investigation. You know, which Republicans promised would take place when they take over. You know, and I really hope Republicans stick to their guns on this one. You know, we need answers. You know, and I hope this investigation opens up doors to Hunter and Joe's involvement in Ukraine with Burisma. I'm willing to bet that Joe Biden is the big guy that Hunter is talking about in his messages found on that laptop. Now, I want to know why Joe Biden asked Poroshenko to fire the leading prosecutor that was looking into Hunter's business dealings in Ukraine. And if he didn't fire the prosecutor, he would withhold billions of dollars in funding to Ukraine. Now, does that sound familiar? That is what Trump was looking into when he called Zelensky. And the Democrats accused Trump of a quid pro quo and impeached him. No, they impeached Trump for the very thing that Joe Biden did in this clip.
I got all the good ones, so I got Ukraine. And I remember going over convincing our team, or others too, convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. If the prosecutor's not fired.
Right? That's not a quid pro quo. I don't know what is. You know, and like I said, that's exactly why Trump called Zelensky. And Zelensky said that he wasn't going to do it. So Trump's like, okay, well, if you're not going to do this for me, maybe some of that shit that we were going to send you is not going to come. You know? And then the Democrats are like, ooh! You know? You know, and I honestly think this is a bigger scandal going on with Ukraine. You know, and I think Hunter Biden's laptop is going to point us in the right direction. So this ends the big lead, guys.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media simply aren't true without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
All right, guys, this ends the show. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button and definitely subscribe. If you do subscribe, make sure to ring the bell. I upload episodes weekly, and I wouldn't want you to miss out. Audio listeners, you can subscribe too. Thank you for listening. But hey, you know you want to watch the videos we played, So you can watch the Deplorable Talk Show on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. You can listen to the Deplorable Talk Show on Spotify, Apple, Google, and Stitcher. You can find links in the description below, or you can head to the deplorableent.com. It is the general hub for all things deplorable. Take care, guys. See you next episode.